Welcome to ESL listening practice. Have you ever spent hours upon hours mastering a perfectly correct English sentence, nailing the pronunciation, feeling super confident, but then you walk into a coffee shop or like a meeting and you hear native speakers saying things that sound absolutely nothing like what you studied?
Yeah, it's the universal shock for language learners. I mean, you learn the classroom rules, but the reality on the ground feels like an entirely different dialect.
Exactly. So for you listening right now, our B2 English learner who is working to bridge that incredibly frustrating gap, that is our entire mission today.
We're totally skipping the rigid, kind of robotic phrasing you find in course books.
Yeah, we're getting straight into the reality of everyday communication. Because honestly, the goal isn't to sound like a dictionary. The goal is to sound natural, relatable, and, well, human.
And that's really the core philosophy driving everyday English. Native speakers instinctively avoid complicated, overly formal structures in daily life. I mean, the objective is connection, right?
Connection, exactly.
When we choose our words, we're painting a picture of our exact state of mind. And formal language often it completely fails to capture the messy, vivid reality of the human experience.
Let's start right there, actually, with the physical human experience.
Yeah.
And how we feel in our bodies, like tiredness and hunger.
Oh, the basics.
Right, because honestly, this is where formal English falls incredibly flat. Imagine you've just finished a 12-hour shift, you drag yourself through your front door, and your classroom training tells you to say, I am tired.
Which is, I mean, factually true, but it doesn't carry any emotional weight at all.
Yeah.
Native speakers use a whole spectrum of phrases to describe exactly how much their energy battery is depleted.
Yeah.
If you've just finished that massive 12-hour shift, I'm tired just doesn't capture the sheer exhaustion. We'd say, I'm wiped out.
Wiped out. I love the imagery there. I always picture like an old school chalkboard.
Oh, yeah.
You take an eraser and just wipe it completely clean. There's absolutely nothing left on the board. And that's your brain and your body, just wiped clean of energy.
That's the exact psychology behind the phrase. You are functioning on zero. Another really great one for that level of depletion is I'm exhausted.
Exhausted, which is a strong word.
It is. It comes from the idea of drawing everything out of a container until it's completely empty. It has this incredible heaviness to it, you know? You don't just say, I'm exhausted lightly.
Right.
You say it when you genuinely need to just collapse into bed.
But wait, I wouldn't use exhausted if I just wanted to, like, cancel movie plans with a friend because it's been a long Tuesday. That feels a bit dramatic.
Right, exactly. For something casual like that, you drop into informal territory and say, I'm beat.
I'm beat.
Yeah, it implies you've been physically or mentally beaten down by the day. Like, I'm beat. Can we watch the movie tomorrow instead? It's quick, it's relatable, and it doesn't require this huge, long explanation.
Okay, and what about that very specific kind of tiredness you get from, say, walking around a new city on vacation?
Oh, the tourist fatigue.
Yes. You're having fun, but after 8 hours on your feet, the energy is just gone.
For that slow, gradual loss of energy, we say, I'm worn out. Think about a favorite pair of running shoes.
Oh, like they literally wear down.
Exactly. You wear them every day, and slowly the tread disappears. They get worn out. That's your energy after a day of sightseeing. It wasn't one sudden stressful event, right? It was just the slow erosion of your stamina.
Wow, using wiped out or worn out instead of a flat I am tired really is like the difference between drawing a stick figure and painting in high definition color. You're giving the listener a vivid, instant understanding of your exact physical state.
High definition language. It's a great concept. And, you know, the exact same principle applies to how we talk about food.
Oh, absolutely. I am very hungry sounds like an android reporting a low power warning.
It does.
It's so mechanical.
It really is. In everyday conversation, native English speakers default to dramatic exaggeration to get their point across. We rarely just say we're hungry. We say, I'm starving.
Even though we're usually not actually starving.
Yeah, right. Literally, starving means suffering a medical emergency from a lack of food. But culturally, we've co-opted it to just mean, you know, I missed lunch and my stomach is rumbling.
It's all about urgency. I'm starving tells the other person, hey, we need to solve this problem right now.
Yes.
And if we want to get incredibly colorful with our exaggeration, there's my favorite idiom. I could eat a horse.
Oh, that's a classic. It highlights the absurdity of the exaggeration. You're communicating that your appetite is so massive in this particular moment that no normal portion of food will satisfy you.
Right.
It injects a little bit of humor into the complaint, too.
So we're painting our physical states in HD color, but when you're starving or worn out, you still have to navigate the world.
Unfortunately, yeah.
You have to interact with friends, coworkers, the person taking your coffee order. And that requires social momentum.
Social momentum is crucial.
We need phrases that act as the social glue to keep interactions positive and moving forward.
English conversation is largely built on a foundation of mirroring and validation. When someone shares an opinion, the way you agree with them dictates whether the conversation flourishes or completely dies.
Right. And the standard phrase we all learn first is, I agree. Someone says, coffee is too expensive these days, and you reply, I agree.
Which, to a native ear, can sometimes sound a bit clinical or even slightly dismissive. If someone makes a point you align with, a much more natural response is an enthusiastic, exactly.
Exactly. I paid $7 for a latte yesterday.
See, it feels alive. It invites the other person to keep talking.
Right. It gives them energy back.
And if you want to show deep alignment, you elevate it to, I couldn't agree more.
I've always found that phrase mathematically interesting. I couldn't agree more. It literally means I am already at maximum capacity for agreement.
It's another exaggeration for effect. It shows the other person that you aren't just politely nodding along.
You're all in.
Exactly. You are actively engaged and deeply supportive of their viewpoint. It builds instant rapport because you're validating their worldview. Other common ways to do this are absolutely, definitely, or a very empathetic Americi. I feel the same way.
Okay, but let me pause and look at this from a learner's perspective. My core goal is to be understood. I agree accomplishes that goal perfectly. Is it really necessary to juggle all these different variations of agreement?
Well, it depends on whether you want to just transmit data or build relationships.
Oh, that's an interesting distinction.
If you just want to transmit data, I agree is fine, but human interaction is about pragmatics.
Right.
If a colleague comes to you frustrated about a project and you just say, I agree, it sounds like you're trying to end the conversation.
Like, okay, noted, please go away now.
Exactly. Saying I couldn't agree more tells them you are in the trenches with them. It shows emotional intelligence.
It's about matching their energy. If they are passionate, you have to meet them with passion. And I guess that applies to understanding people, too. The phrase I understand has always felt a little cold to me.
That's because I understand is cognitive. It just means your brain processed the vocabulary. To show true comprehension of someone's perspective, native speakers say, I see what you mean.
I see what you mean. It's highly visual.
It is.
It's as if you've walked over to where they're standing and you're looking at the problem from their exact angle.
That's the empathy shining through. And if someone is explaining a complicated process to you and the logic finally clicks, you say, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
It's incredibly validating.
Yeah.
You aren't just saying you heard them, you are complimenting the logic of their explanation.
Okay, what about managing time in a conversation? Say someone needs your attention, but you're typing an urgent email saying, wait a moment, feels like you're giving an order to a dog.
It really does. It carries a slight tone of authority, which can be super abrasive in casual settings. To soften the command, we shift the phrasing away from the other person's action and focus on our own need. So we say, give me a second.
Give me a second. Or the really casual, hang on, I just need to send this off.
Hang on is great. It's so much smoother.
But of course, no matter how much social glue we use, interactions aren't always perfectly smooth. I mean, people get confused, we disagree, we make mistakes.
Friction is a guarantee in any language.
So true.
And the mark of advanced fluency is knowing how to navigate that friction politely without causing offense.
Let's tackle confusion first. It's a daily reality for anyone learning a language or just, learning a new software program for that matter. The instinct is to say, I am confused.
Right, but to sound more natural, you lean into spatial metaphors. You say, I'm lost. As in, you clicked 3 different menus just now and I'm completely lost.
I relate to that metaphor deeply. You're wandering through the dense forest of their explanation. You missed a turn somewhere and now you have absolutely no idea where the path is.
Yes.
And it shifts the blame slightly too. It's not just my brain is failing, it's more like we lost each other on this journey.
Exactly. It's collaborative confusion. And what if you aren't the one who is lost, but the information itself is actually flawed? Like someone is telling you a story that completely contradicts itself.
Oh, you wouldn't want to say, you make no sense. That's super aggressive.
Way too aggressive. So we use a mathematical idiom. That doesn't add up.
Oh, I like that.
Like, you said you were home all night, but I saw your car downtown. That doesn't add up.
It's a way of expressing extreme skepticism without directly calling someone a liar.
Exactly. You're just objectively stating that the numbers aren't totaling correctly.
How about when you're asked a question and you simply don't have the answer? I don't know, it's perfectly fine, but it can sometimes drop like a rock and just kill the conversation.
If you want to firmly state that you have absolutely zero information to offer, you say, I have no idea.
Right. Where did the boss go? I have no idea.
It's definitive, but if you want to soften it, especially if you feel you should know the answer but don't, you say, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if the meeting is at 2 or 3. It leaves the door open a crack. And my absolute favorite phrase for shared ignorance is, your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, that's a brilliant bonding phrase.
It really is.
It essentially means we are both equally clueless right now. Why is the printer making that horrible noise? Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, let's talk about mistakes. Because owning up to an error is linguistically tricky. I made a mistake feels very formal, almost like an admission of guilt in a courtroom.
Yeah, in daily informal life, we rely heavily on the phrasal verb mess up. Like, I completely messed up the scheduling for next week.
It acknowledges the error, but keeps the tone conversational rather than dramatic.
Precisely.
And if it's an incredibly minor offense, like bumping into someone's chair or handing them the wrong pen.
For that, you deploy a quick, informal, my bad.
My bad.
It actually originated in street basketball when you'd make a bad pass, and it's evolved into the standard casual apology, oh my bad. It immediately diffuses the tension of a small social error.
Diffusing tension seems to be a huge theme here. What if you need to express that you actively dislike something? Saying I don't like it can be incredibly harsh, especially if the other person loves it.
To avoid trampling on their enthusiasm, you soften the blow. You say, it's not really my thing. Do you want to go to the heavy metal concert? Thanks, but it's not really my thing.
Or, I'm not a big fan of it. Looking at phrases like not my thing, I'm not sure, and my bad, I've realized they all serve the exact same function. They're like verbal bubble wrap.
Okay, walk us through that analogy, a verbal bubble wrap.
Well, when you ship a fragile package, you wrap it in bubble wrap, so it survives the journey and doesn't shatter when it gets bumped around, right?
Right.
Social harmony is fragile. So when you say, it's not really my thing, instead of a blunt, I hate that, you're padding your opinion.
I see.
You're wrapping your sentence in this soft linguistic bubble wrap, so it lands gently, protects the other person's feelings, and prevents the conversation from shattering.
That is a fantastic way to look at it. The need to preserve social harmony drives almost all of these casual idioms. English speakers are culturally terrified of sounding too direct or confrontational in casual settings.
The bubble wrap is essential.
It really is. But as with everything, there are exceptions. Sometimes the emotions are simply too big for bubble wrap.
Yes. Peak emotions. Let's look at how native speakers turn the volume all the way up when they hit the extremes of human feeling. Let's start with extreme happiness.
Okay, so if you receive incredibly exciting news, like getting a promotion or having a baby, saying, I am very happy, completely fails to capture the magic. You say, I'm over the moon.
The imagery there is fantastic. You are so bursting with joy that gravity literally cannot hold you down anymore. You've floated up past the atmosphere.
Exactly. We also use words that imply a physical reaction to the joy, like I'm thrilled or I'm delighted, or we project into the future with, I can't wait.
I can't wait for a vacation next week. It shows an energy that is difficult to contain.
But anticipation isn't always positive. Sometimes it's terrifying.
Oh, for sure. If you're standing outside a room waiting to give a massive presentation, I am nervous is accurate, but it feels a bit clinical.
When anticipation turns to anxiety, we describe the somatic bodily sensation. We say, I've got butterflies.
Butterflies.
It describes that fluttering, chaotic feeling in your stomach when your adrenaline spikes. I'm about to go on stage, and I've got butterflies.
It's a vulnerable thing to admit, but the phrase makes it sound manageable. And if you cross over from nervous anticipation into pure, uncomfortable stress.
You say, I'm on edge. Think of a literal cliff edge.
Yeah.
You're standing right on the brink. Your muscles are tense. Your balance is precarious. And any sudden noise or movement might make you fall. That is what chronic stress feels like.
I've been waiting for the medical test results all week, and I'm just completely on edge.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, what about the most intense emotion of all? Anger. The basic phrase is, I am angry, but anger comes in so many different flavors.
It does. A very specific and extremely common flavor of anger is the frustration that builds over a long period of time. For that, we say, I'm fed up.
I'm fed up with this broken printer.
Or I'm fed up with my landlord.
I actually had an epiphany about this phrase recently. Fed up. Does it literally trace back to the concept of being fed too much food?
It absolutely does.
Through way.
Yeah, it's a brilliant metaphorical transfer. Think about eating a massive Thanksgiving meal.
Oh, I know that feeling.
You eat until you are completely stuffed. If someone tries to force you to take one more bite of food, your body will physically reject it. You are literally fed up to your throat.
So we take that visceral, physical sensation of being overly full, and we apply it to our patients.
Precisely. It's not a sudden explosion of rage. It means you've been tolerating a bad situation, eating the bad food, so to speak, for a long time.
Right.
Now, you have reached your absolute maximum capacity. You cannot swallow one more excuse or one more delay.
That makes the phrase make so much sense. You're full. And if you want to verbally declare that you've reached that limit and you are taking action,
You say, I've had enough. That's it. I've had enough. I'm quitting.
the tolerance bank account is entirely bankrupt.
Bankrupt. Yes.
Let's briefly look at extreme situations, rather than just extreme emotions. If a task is incredibly easy, we don't just say, it's easy.
No, we say, it's a piece of cake.
Cake.
Cake is associated with leisure, celebrations, and enjoyment. Eating a piece of cake requires zero effort. So if a test is extremely easy, it's a piece of cake. Alternatively, we minimize it by saying, no big deal.
No big deal. And on the other end of the spectrum, when dealing with money, if something is wildly expensive, it is very expensive. Sounds like, an economics report.
Right. So we escalate it dramatically. We say, it costs a fortune.
It costs a fortune.
And if the price is high, but the value is terrible, like paying $30 for a generic t-shirt, we call it a ripoff.
A ripoff, meaning you literally feel like the merchant is ripping the money right out of your hands. You've been robbed.
Exactly. It implies injustice, not just a high cost.
This language is so incredibly expressive. But eventually, every conversation, no matter how engaging, has to come to an end. Which brings us to the final hurdle, navigating decisions and gracefully making our exit.
Exiting a conversation smoothly is arguably the most difficult social skill for an English learner to master.
Really, the most difficult.
Oh, absolutely, because the cultural rules are entirely unwritten.
Let's start with handing over a decision. If someone asks where I want to eat, and I genuinely don't care, saying, your decision feels incredibly heavy.
It
sounds like I'm appointing them the leader of a dangerous expedition or something.
It places a massive burden of responsibility on them. To keep things light and collaborative, we shift the phrase to, it's up to you. Indian food or pizza, it's up to you.
Or my absolute go-to for scheduling, whatever works for you.
Yes.
We can meet Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever works for you. It's the ultimate accommodating phrase. It just removes all the pressure.
It really does.
Yeah.
And then comes the actual exit. The moment you need to physically leave the room.
Oh boy.
The classroom instruction tells you to say, I am leaving now.
If I'm at a dinner party and I stand up, look at the host and declare I am leaving now, they are going to think I'm furious with them.
They absolutely will.
It sounds like a sudden, aggressive announcement.
It's far too abrupt. English speakers abhor abrupt endings. We need a runway to land the plane.
Right.
We use phrases that subtly introduce the idea of leaving before we actually move toward the door. We say things like, I'd better get going, or I should get going.
I should get going. I have an early morning tomorrow. But wait, let me challenge this a bit. When we say I should get going, isn't that just a polite lie?
What do you mean?
Well, it implies that I don't want to leave, but some external force is dragging me away.
Yeah.
Even if the truth is just that I'm bored and I want to go to sleep.
Oh, it is absolutely a polite fiction.
Okay, so it is a lie.
Yes, but it's a structural pillar of English politeness. If you say I'm leaving, it implies you are making an active choice to abandon the other person.
Which hurts their feelings.
Exactly. By saying I should get going, you introduce a phantom obligation. You are communicating, hey, I'm enjoying your company so much that I wish I could stay, but my schedule, or the late hour, is forcing my hand.
It's the verbal bubble wrap again.
Here it is.
We wrap our departure in an invisible obligation to protect the other person's ego.
Exactly. You are preserving the relationship even as you exit the physical space. It's really a masterclass in social navigation.
This whole discussion has been a revelation. Sounding natural English isn't about memorizing massive lists of advanced academic vocabulary.
You don't know.
It's actually the opposite. It's about tapping into the visceral, physical realities of life.
Yes.
It's about using metaphors like wiped out or fed up. It's about mirroring the energy of the person you're talking to and using that verbal bubble wrap to keep the social gears turning smoothly.
The goal of fluency isn't perfection, it's connection.
I love that.
But, before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a psychological concept to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've spent this entire time talking about how adopting these natural phrases changes how native speakers perceive you. But I want you to consider how using these phrases might actually change you.
Change how we think, you mean?
Exactly. There's a theory in linguistics that the words we use actively shape our perception of reality. Let's look at anxiety.
Okay.
If you constantly use the rigid formal sentence, I am nervous, you are making an identity statement.
Oh, wow.
You are defining your entire state of being. You are a nervous person. It feels permanent and heavy.
But if you say, I've got butterflies.
Right. If you shift your language to I've got butterflies, you categorize that anxiety as a physical, temporary sensation.
It's just a fluttery feeling in your stomach.
Exactly. It's not who you are. It's just something you are temporarily experiencing.
That is profound.
As you start using these native descriptive phrases in your daily life, pay close attention to your own internal monologue. You might find that speaking more naturally doesn't just make you sound better to others. It might actually change how you emotionally experience the world. Language is a powerful lens.
Language as a lens that shapes our emotional reality. That is a brilliant thought to end on. I'm going to be analyzing my own word choices all week now.
Me too.
Thank you to everyone listening for diving into the messy, beautiful reality of conversational English with us today.
It's been so much fun.
Keep your ears open for these phrases in the wild. Don't be afraid to make a few mistakes and say, my bad, and most importantly, have fun communicating. Until next time.